Hello, Wide Open Adventures family. I've got a encounter for you that comes out of Greece. I don't think I've ever done one that's came out of Greece, but I do like getting them from all around because it gives me different ideas as to, how these creatures react and if it's the same around the world, which would tell me that they come from the same place. So, pretty interesting. He says, it all started one Saturday night like any other. I was walking this dirt road that leads to my neighborhood when I suddenly heard a dog-like panting. As a paranoid person, I got spooked and I turned around to see what was making the noise. But I saw nothing. I continued walking and after a few seconds I heard footsteps, but not human ones. They sounded like a dog was running toward me, but they also sounded huge. I panicked. I used my phone's flashlight to see what the hell that was, and I froze. Only a few meters behind me, there was a creature. He was about 2 to 5 meters tall, which was standing on its hind legs. It was covered in fur from head to toe. It had a wolf-like head with a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth, and it was very muscular. Its eyes were amber yellow, and by the time I turned around to see it, one of its hands was extended toward me. When I first saw it, I instantly thought of the word werewolf. I meant, it had all the stereotypical features of a werewolf. As I stood there, I soon saw it do what I was hoping it wouldn't. It started to growl, and it growled right at me, showing its teeth, which oddly enough were very white. I turned in the other direction and ran to my house, and all the while I could hear it behind me. I should mention that my house has a pretty big yard, so I had to cross it in order to reach the door. It is surrounded by a 1.5 meter tall wooden fence, which was no problem for the creature. It jumped over it like it was nothing while chasing me. When I got inside the house, I locked the door. My parents weren't home at the time as they had gone shopping, so it was me and my younger brother, who at the time was sleeping. Not a second after I locked the door, the creature slammed itself on it, waking my brother up. I told him to shut up and to head upstairs. He could see the panic in my face. So he did what I asked him to do with no question and no hesitation. The creature was running around the house while howling, growling, and scratching the walls, and it looked like it was trying to find a weak spot to burst through. God, I was praying that it didn't. When my parents got home, I told them everything, and surprisingly, they seemed to believe me. The creature had left already, or so I thought. When I got into bed the same night, I heard walking outside my window. I knew without a doubt that it was the creature. I turned toward it, and there it was, with its hand pressed on the window. It looked like it was smiling, and after a long minute of silence, it howled, and it ran off. Since then, I have seen it one more time, but something tells me that I won't be the end of it. However, this encounter was much shorter but more intense. My cousin was giving me a lift with his motorcycle, and we were crossing the same dirt path when all of a sudden we heard rustling in the bushes ahead of us. As we passed by, I saw a familiar set of eyes and instantly screamed to my cousin to run. This time the werewolf didn't chase or follow us, but because it appeared to have been eating on something. The next day we walked over to the spot where we had seen it, and there was a mutilated deer. This thing had been eating a deer while watching us. I thought it was over, but the last few days I've been hearing howling at night, and there are paw prints the size of a man's outside of my window. I think that it's after me, that this thing has unfinished business with me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I need all the help that you all can tell me, Mike. Anything would help me. A lot of the things you said in your story, the scratching on the house, howling and everything, I have experienced that, and so I know what you're going through on that, how it's scary, and you hope nothing, gives, or the lock holds, or the window's locked, or, or the window's lock holds. I know what that feels like. When you talked about the handmen reached out, we did have a creature at my granny's also stick its hand out of the grass and try to get my little cousin to come to it while making the motion to come here. You talk about it chasing you. I'm not so sure that these creatures are chasing. I think they're following and maybe scaring us and trying to find out where we live because we know these things could catch us if they wanted to. So I don't believe they're actually chasing us, scaring us, having fun, maybe playing with us or whatever. But I don't believe their intent is to catch us because I believe that they fully intended to catch us. You wouldn't be telling this story right now. You would have been in the place of the deer that was mutilated that the creature was eating. For some reason, it follows you home. It's still watching you. It could be that you could be a food source for later. Your brother could be a food source for later, and maybe it's thinking, hey, if I can't find a deer or something, I know where two little kids are at. And I think they follow people to try to do that, to find alternate sources, and they look for opportunities. They might be they might be thinking, hey, if we catch his little brother outside, it's an easy snack. So be really careful. Get you some lights up. Talk to your mom and dad more about it. Even if they don't believe you and they start to think that you're not telling them the truth or whatever, I hate to tell you, but maybe even tell them it's a prowler, that you see a man outside of your window. Anything you can do to cause somebody to investigate the situation and to possibly get extra police patrols in the area. And tell your mom and dad, that you're afraid, and could they please put a light up out there. That would be where I would start, but I appreciate you sending your story in. It's neat to have a story from Greece, so really appreciate that. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the next one.